that. And we finally got the door locked because we couldn't leave until we got the door locked because it was a door to in fact, it was a door to the city hall. So we got it locked anyways, and then we left, and I just got in my car and drove away. And usually I'll do a cleansing of myself before. I use a white light technique, and I'll do prayer and stuff, and I didn't. I just want to go home because I had a 3-hour drive back home, and I just want to go home. So I got in the car, and it wasn't until I was almost home, typical, that it happened. But because of that, I didn't know what the heck was going on at the time, but it gave me a little extra time to do some evidence review because I had to get the car repaired. So before going back again, I got the car fixed, and I'll be in the process of the evidence review. I used something called the Ghost Radar app. Okay, and
I remember that. You used that in that case with the elemental, right?
Yes, I use it on all my cases. I just
okay.
It sometimes gives me stuff I can get, but it gave me a whole bunch of words off of it. So I was taking those words, and there was accidents. Actually, even Mendon, I think, came up. Police, I forget, and then there was a name, and I forget the name now, but it was a proper name. So I put the name in. I was just doing a search, and this guy's accident kept coming up. This accident, guy was killed in a car accident.
Oh wow!
Less than a mile from the Taft Library and the City Hall that we were investigating, which are all right next door to each other, literally right next door to each other. I'm like, this is weird. So I start reading about the accident, and the guy was hit in the road. He had pulled off to this marina, and I know where the marina is. And he was going to bring his boat in to get it fixed, but his boat was too big to bring in. So the guy was out there looking at it with him. We were talking about the damage on the boat. His car came around the blind corner. There's a blind corner, and he was just standing out in the road, and the car hit him, killed him. He went flying through the air. Carlos was the name, the proper name. They said he was dead instantly. Right? Young girl hit him. She was like 19, just graduated high school. Wasn't drinking, wasn't anything. She had actually had her GPS on. She was visiting a friend. She was in that area that she didn't know the area really well. She looked down at her GPS and then right at the wrong moment, and that was the end of that. Yeah, wow. Blind corner. Just a strict accident, Yeah. And so the poor guy was dead instantly. But he was from the old country. He'd come to this country, built up his own business. He did a lot with satellite dishes and all that, built up the whole satellite dish business, which got pretty big. So he was well off, the guy. He was very religious, right? Very religious. The old Taft Public Library, if anybody ever originally knew it, it was an old church. Literally, if you walk straight down the road from where he was hit, brings you right to the library, right to the old church.
Right.
So I have a feeling, we don't know how it all works. When we were investigating there, he picked up on it, and he came to us looking for help. And I think the only way he knew how to get my attention was for me to have that accident and put two and two together. Because it did give me more time to go through everything and really try to find out stuff. But however it was with those words, certain words, no matter how I put the words in or where I put it in, his accident kept coming up first in Google search, no matter what I did. So it was a message. To me, it's a message from this guy.
Sounds like a strong message, too.
Yeah. And what I hit was the size of a person, 6 feet long, 2.5 feet wide, laying in the middle of the road, right?
Right.
Come on. What are the chances?
Exactly.
I got photos of that. I think they're even up on my Facebook page somewhere. You go through all my photos I got there. So when we went back, and I actually reached out to him at the library and made contact and talked to him. He wanted me to tell his family something. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. It's been over a year since your accident. Your family is grieved already. They've been through this. I'm not bringing this back up to them. No. I said, you need to move on. And
right.
I asked him if he could see we were talking to I was using, I think, divining rods, and we had another device, and we were getting responses through both of those things. I said, it's time for you to just, say goodbye to them and time to, if you can see the light, go to the light. Go to the light. And move on and leave things as they are. And I hope he went. In the end, I don't know 100% for sure. He seemed to indicate he was going to. So I hope he did. I hope he found peace in the end. But he did seem lost and confused originally. That was a story you didn't hear about on that show. I almost wish they had gone with that rather than the elemental. But they, TV's, they got to pick what they think is scariest or whatever. But,
Yeah, well,
I can't always convince them of everything. Sometimes I can, but not always. So,
not this time.
I mean, no, not that one for that one. And it may be better off because if you do that, then somebody's going to recognize who that was. And, I mean, there's other reasons, too.
Yeah.
Somebody might be watching that recognizes it and go, oh, my God, that was your husband.
Yeah.
There's that other part of it. But, yeah. But so that was the other part of the story that not a lot of people know. And hopefully he moved on. But that was an attachment I brought home.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think he was with me until I went back, too.
Isn't that something? He was probably there. He was there probably all that time. Yeah. So well, in your travels, what place do you think was probably the most haunted place that you've been to? What the Taft place there, the library, or was something else?
There's probably a toss-up between the most haunted locations for me. I mean, Star of India, I was on that. That's very haunted.
Oh, you was on that one?
A lot of experiences on there. Yep, I've been on there. I've been on Star of India. Had some crazy experiences there. A client's home in Springfield, Mass. That I did a story about as a graphic novel. It was very haunted. We experienced everything that individual experienced, everything. And saw my first really full shadow figure there, standing not 4 feet from me.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't malevolent. It didn't scare me. I wasn't afraid of it. I was actually kind of like, wow, where'd you come from? This is there. It's like, okay. It looked female. It was staring right at me. And I tried to get my infrared camera on it, thinking, well, I can capture it. And it wouldn't show up in the infrared. But I could see it. Yeah. And I'm like looking up and down. Finally I go, shit. Because it's like, it's not showing up. Damn it, I can't capture this. So it was kind of funny. And right after I said shit, the thing just fades away. But we also followed a cold spot around from that right after that, me and one of my other investigators. And called the EVP, female voice. Right after I said that, there's a female voice on the recorder that says, didn't like me. I think she thought I swore at her.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See?
And I wasn't. I was just mad that I couldn't get it on the camera.
You're causing problems on both sides of the veil, Jack.
I am. I don't even know. I'm not swearing at you. I'm swearing at you're not on my camera. That's all. I'm not mad at you. So she thought I didn't like her, which is funny because that kind of tells you something that even spirit, human spirit anyway, doesn't always understand what our intent is.
Right.
Think about that. Yeah.
It proves there was an intelligent spirit there because, obviously it misunderstood your intent of your words.
Right, exactly. But that is interesting that they don't always understand our intent or what we say.
And I think that goes both.
Confuse it just as easily as we can theirs.
Right. I was just going to say, I think that goes both ways too, especially with a lot of investigators. Yeah. It's you can say one or two different words; they could have two different meanings, but it's how you say it, and up to us to interpret it too, I guess. So
right. Yeah, well, people, just because somebody's being scratched, bitten, punched, a lot of things can happen to people. Doesn't mean it's something demonic or evil.
No.
Right? There's another case I did that. In Chicopee, Mass, where that was happening to the guy, and it was actually I don't want to call it teen, but they were in their 20s when they lived out in Cape Cod, and they were always the tough guys, the tough punch out there, and they were always punching, hitting each other, doing stupid shit to each other. See who was the toughest, and his friend had been murdered when he was in his 20s. They actually saw it happen to him. And didn't know what was going on. It happened so fast, they didn't know what was going on. but he was there when it happened to his buddy. But all these years later, the guy's being punched, scratched, hit. This tall, 6-foot something dark shadow figure standing over him at night. Turns out it was his friend coming back to try to tell him in their own way, "You're being stupid. Stop doing this stupid shit you're doing." Seriously, not a joke. That's what it turned out to be. And the minute he realized what it was about, because he told me months later, he goes, "I never told you all this, but he told me some things, and I'm not going to repeat it." He goes, "But I was being stupid." He goes, "And the minute I got rid of all that stuff, all the activity stopped."
Yeah, and you know what? Plus,
there you go.
As in life, as in death too. Only sometimes a little worse if you're a bad person. But right, and that makes sense. I've always said, a lot of spirits are misunderstood because if they're frustrated and they're trying to get your attention, and 9 out of 10 people can't see, hear, or feel them, they're desperate or frustrated, and they're going to scratch you, bite you, or knock something over, or whatever. Right.
Right. That's right. And that's all that's all that spirit was doing was. Because last time they knew each other, they were in their 20s, and they were the tough guys. So they used to knock shit out of each other's hands and slap each other in the face for no reason or punch each other. He was trying to reach out to him, and the only way he knew how that his friend might remember him by, and say, "Stop being stupid. What are you doing? You're going to end up in jail. Don't do this, And, you've got a young family now. You can't be doing this garbage anymore. Wake up." Kind of like a wake up. Yeah, it's a wake up call. Yeah. So just because that spirit was being, malicious, you could say malicious, or is being violent, that's how they were in their 20s, and that's how they could connect, So to him, that was kind of normal. "Hey, you're my brother. Don't be stupid. Wake up. Stop doing all this stuff." So, but it was not. It was meant in a positive way. But even he thought it was a demon. He goes, "It's got to be demonic. It's doing all these things." It turns out it's your buddy, man. Do you remember this guy? Because I had a vision of that guy during the investigation. I was able to tell him, and that's how he knew. How'd you know about him? I described him right down to what he was wearing the night he was murdered. Wow. And he's like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, "How did I know what?" He goes, "That's what he was wearing when he was murdered." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." Yeah. And then more information starts coming, so I'm able to tell him more stuff. Even that, he's saying he wouldn't tell me what we'll just say Bill was doing wrong. But he said, you're doing something you're not supposed to be that could get you in big trouble. I said, "Is that right?" He goes, "I kind of got to get going, Jack. I can't really talk anymore right now." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, all right." And then he hung up. And then it was months later, like 3 months later, he told me, he goes, "I don't know how you knew that, but this is what I was doing." He told me what he was doing. I'm like, holy shit. No wonder you hung up on me. Because how the hell did I know? I knew nothing, right? It's like, got too close to home. Got it. But again, he changed his what he was doing, and he got rid of the stuff he shouldn't have had, and he was fine after that. And all the activity stopped. So just because it seems negative doesn't mean it is. You got to really look. That's when the investigation part comes in. You've got to really look.
I agree. That's where the investigation is key. You got to dig and research and ask the right questions.
Right. And try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And you can't just do it on your own. You've got to talk to the clients to get some feedback and try to figure out what is going on here. And you've got to trust in them a little bit too. That the feedback they're giving you is correct, or just catch the cues, like him hanging up on me. Like, "Oh, I just hit on something. Okay, don't know what, but it freaked them, right?" So, you go from there, and you take it for what it is. It's so hard to sort through. It's like being a detective, right? I mean, you got to sort through all the data and figure it out from there.
So very true. You got to sort it through, and sometimes it takes more than one night or 5 hours to figure these things out. I mean,
that's right.
Personally, I'd like to do 2-3 days if possible, or even more. It's just
I don't do too much more investigating than one night. I mean, as far as especially with residential cases, it's kind of hard. Yeah. But the rest of it is nights and weeks of research and making phone calls back and forth and talking to the people after. and digging up whatever other